Hello, all. Welcome back. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome back to the Founders Challenge. We created this series as part of a 20-week Founders Lock-in Challenge. We created it because so many of you told us this is your season. This is your time to focus, to scale, and to build your business with clarity and intention. So far, we've walked through the foundations from week one all the way to week four. Week one, we've defined your vision. Week two, we validated your market. And week three, we anchored your business in real people. Week four, we just came out of, and you should have turned that into a business model structure. And now here we are in week five, and we're going to be talking about growth hacks or tools to utilize. We're not really focused on growth hacks. We're going to be focused on architecture because growth isn't really about effort. Growth is going to be about systems that scale when you can't be everywhere at once, right? So before we dive into today's session, I want to take a moment to ground you in who we are and why we teach this way. So, Copper and Vine Studio was founded over 20 years ago and rebranded in 2009 as a strategy and product architecture firm that sits at the intersection of vision, design, and technology. And we focus on a pillar of compliance around that. So over the years, we've launched more than 400 products across Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, nonprofit, and early stage startups and founders. So when we talk about business models, we're not talking theory, we're talking about what we've built, what we've tested, and what we've scaled across every kind of founder ecosystem imaginable. So our approach is what we call founder-centered architecture. It's meaning everything starts with your bandwidth, your priorities, and your reality. We believe success isn't about building faster. It's really about building right the first time. And we also are a very outcome driven agency. So our deliverables always tied directly to adoption, revenue, or funding readiness. And finally, we're compliance first. Every system we design is meant for our clients to be HIPAA, GDPR, and accessibility aware from day one. And because of this good business model that we have it really protects us to build for our clients on behalf of our clients without taking equity or without advancing their capacity strain, actually giving them more time. So, a bit about me. I am Rakia Finley. I get to be the CEO and managing partner at Copper and Vine. I'm a founder, technologist, and I'm a coalition architect. My journey started as a full stack developer. I'm someone who loves building systems that solve real problems. Over the time in my career, I've realized that building technology isn't just enough. We have to build equity in these systems. That's what led me to create Copper and Vine. So for the past 20 years, I've worked at the intersection of product strategy, architecture, and impact, leading more than 400 launches across industries and really focusing on startups and Fortune 500 and government initiatives. As an entrepreneur and innovation educator, I've helped founders design business models that aren't just profitable, but they're sustainable and scalable. Many of the frameworks you'll see today were first used in those environments, from corporate strategy rooms to early stage startup labs. And as a movement leader, I've spent the last decade shaping how equity, innovation, and technology intersect, leading initiatives with the Obama administration, teaching across global accelerators, and breaking new ground as the first Black woman to lead an AI product firm in North America. But what matters most to me is what this session is about. And it's really about making sure that every founder has the tools and clarity to turn their idea into a structure that actually works. So, throughout our sessions, we'll always ground you in what we teach with a real world example. And I love using Our Turn. So, Our Turn is a digital journaling and emotional wellness platform designed to help people understand themselves and one another through love languages and emotional reflections. While it does that, it sends you real world gifts monthly to your door with a custom affirmation card in alignment with those journal entries. Now, the reason we're using Our Turn as our working example is because it's a beautiful product, and it really represents exactly where many of our customers and our clients are right now. When our time began, we needed to validate that idea, but then we also needed to build infrastructure, systems, and policies in regards to those ideas to make sure that our turn works successfully and is able to scale globally. That means that we need to figure out ways to not only connect with our customers, but to get thousands of gifts randomly sent all throughout the world on a monthly basis. So, building structure and building SOPs and infrastructure, what I hope to teach you is meant to show how powerful you can make a business idea simply by having a great underbelly of success. So far in this Founders Challenge, we've covered vision, validation, customer, and model. So now it's time for us to talk system. This stage is where your company stops relying just on you and is going to start relying on structure. Without it, every success adds more weight. And with it, every success is meant to add momentum. So, the hard truth as we currently know it, especially when we talk about our SaaS founders, is that our SaaS founders usually generate under $100,000 in revenue per employee. So, the difference between the top performers and everyone else is not talent, it is going to be systems here. Founders lose days to manual updates, manual actions, manual entries. And they tend to lose a lot of time due to scattered tools and missing handoffs. Operational drag is going to always kill startups, and it's going to immediately identify having a bad strategy. So we know from our past weeks that having a strong vision, a valuable business model, an understandable customer, and a validated strategy is what drives growth. So naming this here that if we don't have that, we at best are looking at about 100K per employee earn. And if you look at your capacity right now, you might say, well, to do what we need to do, we need to hire 8 staff members. Well, at the best of us, we'll be looking at 100K in additional revenue per that staff member hire. And what you might find, especially if you're a service-based business or brick and mortar business, that that math might not math the way you want it to. You might end up seeing a lack of profit, reduction of profit, or just tons of capacity hours being utilized by your staff while only seeing a certain amount of revenue. So you really want to think about this here before we start talking about those employees and gaining that additional 100K in revenue, what can we do pragmatically? What can we do with our systems to reduce our overhead and place us in a strong position for this? So let's check back in with Maya. Now, you remember when we first started with Maya, she just had a consulting firm and she was looking on a way to expand her firm. She did the same steps that you're doing throughout these weeks, and we started her with vision focusing. We got very clear about the how might we's around where Monica wanted to go and how she wanted her business to be. That eventually led her to a multitude of business offerings and service offerings which we refined against her ICP, her ideal customer profile. And that led Maya to build a digital platform that allowed her to expand her existing offerings, her service offerings, as well as her product offerings to her customers. So her platform now, as we're in week 5, her platform is taking off. Okay. She's got new clients weekly. They're coming in left and right. She's excited, and we're killing it. Her product is working. It's aligned to the ICP, it's aligned to its market. But her nights, Maya's nights, are chaos. Maya is rewriting onboarding emails daily. She's chasing down invoices every other day, and she's putting out fires on a regular basis. Then it happens. Maya loses her first 40K partnership, all because her CRM didn't update who owned the deal, not whether or not she should respond or her VA should respond, or if there should be any action item on it at all. Her CRM gave her no insight. So that's not failure, right? That's success outgrowing your systems. So we want to dive into how we prevent this. Because not preventing this, not preventing the outgrowing of systems, which will happen, is going to be the cost of growth without structure. And that's what we want to make sure doesn't happen. We want to grow with structure so we're able to grow faster without being bottlenecked or coming against a hardship. So the truth is here, when we look at the foundations of a scalable system, this is what I cross against every one of our clients. Every scalable company runs on 4 connected systems. These aren't tech choices here. These are going to be your trust choices. So each layer is going to protect your time, it's going to protect your data, and it's meant to protect your reputation. So one is our revenue engine. That is the system that is made to generate sales and complete sales and move that data flow of potential customer to customer through. And then from there, we have delivery and operations. That's different. A lot of people think just because they get their CRM solution together, then somehow magically project management and SOPs are going to find their way into the solution in the system. And that's not true. So we want to look at that from what systems are we utilizing to manage our SOPs, place them into action, and manage our projects successfully. Then from there, we want to think about customer success, our retention systems. Remember this work that we learned during our ICP week. What are we doing to support our customers and staying relevant with rapport in a trusting experience with us so they're also referring us? That's where your customer success tools are going to come into play. And then from there, we want to think about our financial infrastructure. This is not the same as sales. Sales is hearing that you'll make the deal or hearing the verbal yes. Financial infrastructure is when we are going to actually make the sale. So that's your Stripe or that's your credit card transaction solution. That's actually making the sale. And it might look like making the sale recurringly if it's a retainer project of some kind, or if it's a recurring product. Okay. So systems are meant to create confidence within your startup, within your business. Systems are not meant to create any level of bottleneck or difficulty or hardship in any way. It is simply meant to create a higher level of confidence because you have data in one place, you have an understanding metrics in one place, and ideally you have metric measurements in that same one place. So it gets to tell you who owns what, how information is moving throughout that system, and where your business might break next, right? So we're not really talking about bureaucracy here, but we're talking about system level intelligence that's only meant to dictate to you the rise and fall, the success and wins and losses of your company on a consistent basis. So most founders drown trying to document everything when we start saying systems, infrastructures, and SOPs. And that's not what we want to do here, right? The job is to systemize and then identify how that system can drive results. So I have an 80-20 rule here where I want to see every job I want you to systemize the 20% of the work, of the capacity work that drives 80% of your results. So 20% of the systemize, you want to systemize 20% of your job and you want to target that 20% towards the 80% of that tends to drive results. So that might look like onboarding. It might look like handoffs, payment, validation, customer support, renewals, right? It starts there. So I might have said that and you may have been like, oh, I love my work. I don't want to change my work. It's, you really want to think about the work that is simply made to drive results, which is a sale, which is a new customer, which is a product launch, which is a product completion. So those are really the actions that drive your business. And underbelly of that, the heart of that is your excellence. But we want to really talk about those systematic approaches that if they don't happen, that check won't come in, and get to the heart of get to the 80% of that and try to systemize at least 20% as you can. So that 80-20 rule. So let's look at this from Maya's point of view. So she identifies the problem. Now she's coming in, she's ready to solve it. So Maya's team implemented that 3-step automation flow. So her 3-step automation flow started with CRM. That CRM is then routing automation. So we're not going to create a lead black hole in any way here. From there, it's going to move into Asana or Notion. Yeah, right. But it's going to move into SOPs, onboarding SOPs. So where onboarding is never skipped, it's a part of the step. It lives in Asana or Notion. Those action items are going to take place either by her VA, her admin, or herself. Or if she built an agentic around it, it would initiate it from there. Right. So this is where AI also gets to support you. When we create these SOPs and these defriction flows, we're also going to see where agentic and AI can support us here. So also always be looking to that. But even Maya, without her implementing AI, is just implementing simple solutions. So she turned on her Asana. That's managing where all her SOPs live. Her SOPs are associated with a routing automation that her CRM is triggering. And then from there, we're going to get that deal because we went through that SOP that was in Asana. And then the next step of that is best and final and payment. So invoices are always on time. So that looks like we flow. So I kind of put a graphic here to say, manually, Maya easily could have done these steps, but when we automate them simply by saying we're going to utilize a CRM tool, a note-taking tool, Asana, Notion, Google Docs, otherwise, and our payment solution, those are only 3 solutions that we're utilizing to move through this flow that in 45 minutes time gives us a deal. Right. So that's what we want to get to. It's not so much about paying for systems or buying systems. It's more so being really honest about what do we need to automate and systemize the 80% of growth, success, and milestones. How might we systemize about 20% of that? Naming that, creating that honest flow, automating that flow, and utilizing systems to do so. So there's an assumption here when we start talking automation, we start talking tools, that we're then being asked to download every single app or go into every single device. I can tell you how many founders we have. By the time we get to them, they use Claude, they use ChatGPT, they use Rayloom, they use so many tools and solutions, let alone their CRM, match with their WordPress website if we're lucky, or they have a Squarespace template, but it still is managing their blogs, right? And then on top of that, you add their social media management tools. And it gets to be a really big bag of things that are being utilized. So we want to find a way to take that away. How we do that is you automate what protects time. That is the goal, to automate what protects time. And then you're meant to personalize what builds relationship. So that's how we really balance efficiency with empathy here is you really want to do that. But also, when you create your systems, you're creating your systems in alignment with your ICP. You're not creating systems that just feel good or you got marketed to or came to your TikTok, but you're going back to that ICP work and you're saying, okay, here's what we know. This is how our customers work. This is how the language they want to see. Here's the tools that they utilize. Here's the tools that they would see comforting when it's time for them to sign a deal. They're likely going to pay through Apple Pay. What does that mean for us? They'll likely pay through Bank Wire. What does that mean for us? So then your tool solutions are more dictated by the customer and their journey rather than it just be a basket of apps that you use from time to time. So automation is meant to really drive success here, right? So human touch is what is meant to drive trust. So how do we get trust? Is human touch. And then how do we protect time? We automate. So sometimes we assume that automation means that we are taking away human touch, but only human touch can create trust. From there, automation is meant to protect the time of that human. So when you personalize, you want to build on what builds relationship. So if human touch is the start of that, trust activated, then what are the automation journeys post that that can build relationship? That's that 80-20 rule. And then that's how you really want to balance efficiency with empathy. So especially if AI starts as AI starts doing 50% of your work, right? As you start really advancing to that place, you really want to balance efficiency with empathy for your customer as you begin that process. However, that is me saying after we figure out our systems and how they work in alignment with our ICP, we then are going to go to our automation. That's when we start talking AI. And the question there is going to be, how might we build efficiency with empathy and protect our time using this AI? So we have a systems framework that we utilize here because a lot of the question I get asked is, how much should we be investing in all these solutions? HubSpot is expensive. Sprout Social is expensive. Google Business is expensive. So you start saying that. What I want to invite you to is to really begin a systems framework journey. This feels just like a feature roadmap that you would have with your product. So, what that looks like is us saying, well, we know when we get to this point, or we know when we finally launch, we're expecting this many users, we're expecting this type of turnout, this type of success. And when you do that, you're able to effectively plan your infrastructure. So premature optimization is the key to this, right? It's not meant for perfection, it's meant for proper preparedness. So I want you to get into an idea of premature optimization. And that allows you to validate, then systemize, right? And then it's going to allow you to automate with that return on investment effort. So that means that we're not just saying, oh, we're going to turn everything on and just pray for the best, or just we'll use up all our free trials on the same thing. You more so want to say, hey, when we get to this stage, or when we have these many customers, or when our data finally needs to move to 1 terabyte, or whatever it might be, that is going to trigger us to do this additional system framework investment that we want to have. So you understanding that you're evolving your infrastructure with every ARR milestone, with every revenue injection, and not necessarily saying yes to all of it because all you did was create tech debt. We don't want to do that. So your revenue engine is going to be the heartbeat of your growth. When we think about your revenue engine, you get to start with a general CRM. Your CRM is meant to mirror your sales motion. So if your CRM, if you purchase a CRM that's really focused on cold calling and maybe it has a telephone line extension to it because it's expecting you to want to do fast calls, right? But you're online and you only do online ad sales and you have no intention on calling someone a day in your life. Well, then you've picked the wrong CRM solution for you. So you want to pick one that is in alignment with what it is you need your CRM to do, which means that it's in alignment with your sales flow. If it's not in alignment with your cell phone, then it's simply just a Rolodex of contacts. And though that might seem helpful, it isn't because it's not helping you move that customer or client along through a sales process. So you want to start with a CRM that mirrors your sales motion. That can look like Pipedrive, that can look like HubSpot for early stage. Salesforce is also something you can think of, but that's only when your process is really demanding it, right? So you want to add automation when your inbox becomes your bottleneck, not before, right? We're adding as we start needing it. So once we see the bottleneck, we're going back to that system validation and we're growing from there because there's been a trigger to tell us, oh, it's time. But that means that we had a document already that told us what we would do when that moment came. We already validated that software that we would buy when that moment arrived. So having a ample roadmap within that journey is going to be really important to you. The goal here is to never see leads get lost. The goal is to never see follow-ups get missed or deals never get tracked. Right. So will you have sales if you don't have systems? Yes. Will you have opportunities for marketing and social media growth if you don't have systems? Yes. Will you be able to follow up on it quickly? No. Will you lose some of those leads? Yes. Right. And will you be able to track those deals? No. So we want to focus on the executive strategy approach that comes with this. So you want to document how things get done. What is an SOP, Rakia? Standard operating procedure is simply you writing down step by step how something moves from A to Z from your opinion, right? And there's the beautiful opportunity to use LLMs right now, utilizing ChatGPT to take that list, put it in and say, okay, what out of these steps am I missing, right? And having it fill in those gaps or giving it that completed list and say, okay, write this into a standard professional SOP. It's a great way to use ChatGPT, but if you've heard my instruction, you're going to start with your steps first. That's how you get your authentic culture in there. You're not going to start with a template of any kind. Really get honest about if you were to do it A to B customer moment, whether it's a sales call, whether it's an execution of that product development, turning into a sale to that customer, or whether it's a follow-up conversation to get some feedback from them, either one of those stages, right? And what happens back of house? How do we fulfill that package? How do we welcome them into our store? How do we start that first service call? Those are all actions that need to be done. Technically, they might in your head be being done by you. We get to write those steps down and that's where we get to our SOPs. SOPs are not meant to slow you down. They are meant to speed up repeatable processes and guarantee that they happen in a way that leads you to success. So if Maya, if we think back to our Maya example, if Maya had documented her handoff process, that 40K deal wouldn't have slipped because it already would have had when deal comes in, do these steps without any additional direction needed. So we really want to think about the benefit that we gain here is our SOPs stop things from being lost in the cracks. One thing you can do if you're struggling with writing your SOP is record one Loom video per week of you doing something, doing whatever you do to keep your company functioning. Just record a Loom while you're doing it. It's going to show you how long it took to do it, right? You're going to see those steps. You can turn that into a clip or SOP. There's also a great application called Scribe that also can do that recording and turn that into an SOP for you. And once you do that, you can start building your data room. That's you building it in Notion or building it in ClickUp. It's you building those SOPs for them to live somewhere. So SOPs are meant to be the bridge between your existing brilliance and burnout, right? That bridge is gonna stop brilliance from burnout. So I want you to think of it as like your starter stack. What are the things that I want every founder, I don't care what your business does, what it's meant to do, where it's going to go, you're going to have a particular level of starter pack that's going to allow you to be successful. And so this is what I call kind of your Monday morning stack. As a founder, as an executive, as a leader in your company, you want something you can look to see if your company is moving, growing, and scaling. So tools that are meant to be in your starter pack are tools that get you operational. Your tools are not meant to overwhelm you. So if you have a CRM that you sign into right now and it's like a million unreads, 500 unsubscribed, like it's just data that just overwhelms you, but it doesn't tell you what to do next, then we don't have a good, right, marketing platform. So your Monday morning tools are meant to really help you reduce overwhelm and have a high level of business insight. As you grow, you get to swap your sophistication as it scales, right? But we're not thinking about that right now. We're thinking about the tools that allow you to get understanding of where your business is going and how. So we focus on simplicity, and we want to focus on sophistication. So how that breaks down is one, you're going to have a CRM tool, and there's tons of them out there. There's robust ones, there's simplistic ones. The most simplest way to think about a CRM is it starts with your contact Rolodex. It's not just your customers, it's your partners, your old vendors, it's everyone who's ever done business with your company. And the reason we utilize CRMs is because they allow us to take that Rolodex and categorize them. So now I can say out of this group of 500 people whose names and emails and numbers I have, 20 of them are actually past clients, 50 of them are partners, 20 of them are potential clients, right? The rest of them are friends and family. Whatever the category is, that immediately is going to make you aware of who you're reaching out to. Here's why this matters and how this shows up the most is for my founders that do marketing. And usually when they do marketing, they have a listserv and it's like 2,000 people. And they're like, oh, this is so great. We got this listserv. That's fine. We're just going to launch this project and send it to our email blast. They send it and they probably get about 100 reads, 100 clicks out of those 2,000. And they're like, what happened? Our email campaign failed. Well, if we would have actually looked at that from a CRM perspective, half of that list were your friends. And they probably looked at the email but didn't do any action towards it, right? Another quarter of those people were just people who signed up by accident. They're not potential customers or clients, right? The other half are just marketing people that you met at a conference and they're not in relationship. So when we actually looked at your active categorized customers of that 2,000, we see you only had 200. And if we break that down to a 200 out of those 100 clicks, you actually did pretty good on that campaign. But we won't know that if we can't categorize and understand who are these people and why are they on our radar. So that's what your CRM is meant to do. And there's different ways. You can go, like I said, robust, HubSpot, Salesforce, or you can go really simple. Copper CRM is a really simplistic one to think about. Next to that is we're thinking about our customer journey here. So now we've signed the customer. So CRM got us a deal, got us the lead, got us the call. Now we're setting up their project. That's when we need a project management system. This is also where our SOPs are going to live. And this can be anything, right? Depends on how your management style. Are you more of you want stand-up calls every day and you want everybody to be reading from one document rather than them automating themselves? Then maybe that just looks like you having tons of Google Docs with titles of SOPs, and those you pull those up at certain turns and then people see the steps that they need to take and they move forward. Maybe you're more tech savvy. You want to see ClickUps and you want to see it turn into a project template and people to check off their to-dos so you can stay managing on them. This is where you as a founder and an executive get to get honest about how you want to receive progress updates, status updates, and how you want things to move about. That's how you're picking your project management tool. So if you're not a to-do list checker offer, then Asana is probably not your ideal project management tool. But if you're someone who just wants to read the steps and then Google Docs might be the way to go, or is a great hybrid of both. So you want to think about your project tool from a leadership perspective. How do you receive team information in a way that allows you to delegate easily? Your finance solution, I challenge you to be in relationship with whoever might do your taxes at some point, right? And even if that's TurboTax, right? The challenge there is go to TurboTax and see what accounting systems that they integrate with. That should be the beginning of your journey of figuring out what financial tool you're going to use. But when we think about your financial tool, it's simply about you being able to report out when legally necessary and otherwise of how your company made money and made dollars. When we need to make dollars, makes sense. It also is how we want to understand our expenses, the cost that went towards that earn. So your financial tool is meant to do that. But my little tidbit there is reverse engineer it from your tax journey. So however you pull that P&L statement or whatever will be required for you, P&L statement or otherwise, to make that tax journey successful, you want to reverse engineer and pick a solution that's in alignment with that existing journey. Support is when we start thinking about our customers. So now when we have our customers, I want you to imagine your customer 3 o'clock in the morning, dead of night, something happened, whether your product broke, whether they can't make it to your brick and mortar or your gym the next day, they need to tell you whether the online platform that you built and launched and they paid for went down. Any of those things, 3 in the morning, how are they getting support? How are they reaching out? Now, if your immediate response was, oh, well, they can just text me. We don't have systems. We don't have a system. We're not going to make it, right? We're going to get overwhelmed. Something's going to break, right? So we want to figure out what is that support system that meets our customers where they are and actually gives them the support that they need. Now, when we have those core four, that's when we start thinking about AI advancement. That's when we start saying, okay, well, now we have these core four. Here's how we're manually utilizing them. Now, understand that they're all working together. How can we make sure that they're working as a team? Awesome. So, my point of saying this to you is really honing in on the focus of this is a progressionary development. You knowing the systems that you will use is a right now task. You then advancing and turning them on is a later down the line task. But you want to understand when you activate them as you going up. So you don't chase compliance like a checkbox. You want to plan it as a growth phase. So you don't need SOC 2 when you're just 100K ARR, but now you might need it when your habits, when you get a little bit later down the line and when you're ready and you hit enterprise customers, your readiness becomes a little bit different and now you need SOC 2. So we want to get honest about the progression journey. Now, what does this look like for Maya? Maya did not need more hustle with her platform. When she got all these emails and all these things were happening, she didn't need more hustle, right? She just simply needed more architecture. So now her systems run while she rests, right? Actions happen without her having to initiate them, right? Her business finally feels like it's free. That's what we want our systems to do, even at their early stages. You should be having systems that allow you to feel more aware, more connected with your customers, and more in alignment to your growth scale. That is what your systems are meant to do. So right now, I'm sure if you get on any social platform, you're going to get marketed to get a system. Sign up for our CRM. It's going to make you more money. It's going to help your sales team. Sign up for our marketing solution. Sign up for our social media tool. You, as the founder and executive, need to have an internal conversation with that ad that says, oh, that's great to know that you do that. Two things should come out of your mental mind. When we are at this point, we might consider this. Second is, we know that for this solution, we need it to do this, right? And then you get to audit whatever you're being marketed. So it shouldn't be oh, this tool, because marketing is meant to say, nothing's going to get better unless you use us. The executive response to that needs to be, well, I know what we need for growth and scalability because we did week one and we did our business model. So we know where we're going and how we're going to get there. So because I know that, these are the tools and the solutions that I need. So you do have a worksheet, but the number one homework I want to give you is that challenge. Look, audit every single tool you are currently using, whether you're using it for yourself or your business. Gmail, right? You're going to start there. How am I getting my emails? How am I paying for most of my systems? How, what banking solution do I use? What CRM solution? If I don't have a CRM, what am I considering my CRM? Is it my LinkedIn contacts? Is that considered my CRM? Is it my phone contacts? How am I supporting my people? So get a list of that basket of systems that you're utilizing. Go back to the work that we've done these past 4 weeks and look at vision, customer, and growth strategy, and now audit those systems. Well, you know what? For us to go where we're going, I know I need our CRM solution to not only list our customers, I need them to categorize our customers, and I needed to showcase their buying capability in every part of our customer management system. Okay, cool. Now let me look at the existing systems I'm using. Do any of them do that? And if it's a no, now I'm going to build a roadmap that says we're going to purchase a CRM solution. The goal of that CRM solution is to categorize our customers and be able to quickly identify and pull reports based off their earned potential or their purchase potential, right? That conversation gets a little bit different. So that's my real challenge. I want you to just executive mind flip your brain this week and moving forward. No longer are you being sold to, you are auditing the system. Why this matters so much is because your systems are going to create your scalability. It is not you that is going to create your scalability. Metrics, customers, and the ease of their purchasing experience is what creates your scalability. Automation without empathy is going to erode customer trust. Eroding customer trust eventually means you lose customers. You die slowly. So automation is what allows us to maintain customer rapport and kindness. Premature optimization. I want you to get this in your chakra. Premature optimization is preparation, not perfection. It allows you to say, when we get here, we purchase this so that bottleneck doesn't happen so we can continue to grow. It also is going to save your revenue because we're not going to turn on systems just to turn them on. We know when we're turning it on because they're based off of our milestones, our KPIs that we figured out in week 1 and 2. And then freedom is built through documentation. That SOP is standing between you and going to happy hour sooner, right? Because that SOP is allowing you to hand over to whether it be an agentic AI or whether it be an actual individual to say, hey, here's all the steps I would take if I were doing it, but I'm not because I'm a business owner. And that's what we want to move you into. So my key takeaways for you today, as a reminder. Always a reminder, I'm so happy every time you guys show up for these sessions. I know a lot of you sent us some email. A lot of you are watching the recordings after, but I'd love for you to join live to get a continuous feedback. I'll stay on a little bit longer in case there's some questions, but really if we could help you build this faster, if you're looking for a business consultant to be at the helm of this work, or if you want someone to do this work for you, please feel free to reach out. If anything, just watching this webinar gets you a free consult with me. So if you scan that QR code, you can get a free consult, but we'll also send it in email form. Next week, we're taking everything we've built, validated, and we are going to talk about the digital infrastructure. So we're going to dive even deeper, but we're going to talk about the actual, the how might we's around these things. So what is your website meant to do? Why do you have it? What's the effectiveness? What does your website need to do for you for scalability? What is a funnel? What does a good funnel look like? How do you develop your authentic funnel? Every business has a funnel. If you think you don't have a funnel, you're lying to yourself. You have one, you're living in it now. Let's get it on paper and actually refine it. How do I refine a funnel that aligns to me? We're going to talk a lot more about CRMs, but we're going to talk about that categorizing, understanding the data that is in your customer ICP. So remember, we're Maya at this point. We have customers, we have scaled, we have validated, we have our business model, and we have a platform live. If you work for Copper and Vine at this point of the week, this is where you would be. You would be where Maya is. So our next step from that is now to double down on what's been working. So I want you to come to week 6 knowing your existing website structures, knowing your existing sales work, doing the worksheets if you haven't already. And we're going to dive really deep in. We've done a lot of preliminary work. Now is the time for us to actually start building these businesses in a way that they're able to go to market, scale, and be awesome. A reminder that you have the opportunity to build something very large. And I look forward to you doing so. Big visions are a lot easier to build, I promise you. So I hope you continue to do so. And thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the recording and I'll address any questions. Thank you and see you next week. Hello. Hey, Jennifer.
Hello, hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I know I came into like the latter part of this session. I actually promoted your whole series to the Spellmanpreneur program. I was like, y'all check this out in case any students want to attend. But the recordings for the last few sessions, how do I access those? Because I wasn't able to attend.
Awesome. Yes, I will. We've been sending them through email. Do me a favor and put your email through the chat, and I'll make sure I send you the list of ones. But we've been sending them in the follow-up email, so you may not have been seeing those. I would check
Is
your.
it because I didn't register yet? Because I registered like for set all the sessions the other day.
Okay,
I did
then
like
that's why.
90% of the sessions that I registered, like most.
That's why. So yeah, I'll make that a little note that even when we get new registrants to send them the old recordings. So that's on us. So thank you
Okay.
for asking.
Thank you.
I'll get that to you today so you can catch up. Because if this was your first one, yeah, you gotta do some vision work.
Yeah. Okay.
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 Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing it. I'm really grateful. Hopefully we'll see more people join live so we can get some more questions answered as well. But we're doing this every week. This is 5, so we have 15 more weeks to go.
Wow. Wow. I saw that. It was a lot of good stuff. Because
Good.
we're a clinic. So I was like, okay, how do I apply this to my clinic? Because we already have like some of our, things on the clinic side. So I just was like, I'll take what I need. Like I'll pull what we don't already have tight so that
Yeah.
we can incorporate it into our processes and just how we're doing stuff now, what we're building out.
Well, please, I'll shoot you an email. Please let me know any questions that you're trying to make sure you all are answering or in any way that I can advance the series. Please this is our first time trying anything like this. So, any feedback would be great of how your team or how your cohort would appreciate it even more. So yeah, please.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank
I
you. Sounds
appreciate
good. Thank you. I will
it.
do.
Awesome. All right, have a good rest
Oh,
of your day. Hope you found it helpful.
yes. Bye
All right.
bye.